Welcome to the last session where I'm hosting three different devs. My name is Sam Bunn. First up, we've got the amazing Bank, who's a member of the Wild Gentlemen, and he's just about to release his amazing game, Chicken Police, into the Hive. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. I'm sure from everyone at AdventureX. Tell us, who are the Wild Gentlemen and what is Chicken Police?
Yes, so hey everyone, I'm Bank, one of the co-founders of the White Gentleman and basically the creative director of the team in all our projects. And I was the writer and designer for Chicken Police Into the Hive. White Gentleman is a small Hungarian studio which formed at 2018 for the sole purpose of to make Chicken Police Painted Red, which was the first game in the franchise and first game as us as a team. And we didn't even know whether there would be a future for the studio after the game or not. But fortunately, the first game was a success, and now we have a bigger team. And we are working on more games in parallels, and yeah, the latest is Chicken Police Into the Hive, which is basically a hard-boiled animal noir adventure satire, as we tend to call it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a visual novel point-and-click hybrid with this unique photo manipulation technique or style. Absurd humor and a deep world, which we are very proud of. And yeah, it's about two infamous rooster detectives, basically, who are this typical film noir hardboiled detective cop duo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm sure people who've already watched the trailers will see that it looks absolutely amazing. And people who've played the demo will also know that it plays really well. Um, let's see, where can we get started? So I've been aware of the Chicken Police game for some time, but I never played the original. For those people who did, and for those people who didn't, what sets Into the Hive apart from Paint It Red?
Well, Into the Hive is a strange beast, to be honest, because it's a direct sequel to the first game, but also a totally standalone experience. So that's why we don't call it Chicken Police 2 often, because it's like a continuation, yes, but also very much a totally new story with new characters and storylines and all. So it's kind of a mixture. Basically, if you play the first game and know its characters and story arcs, there will be some returning things in the second one, obviously, and in some sense you will maybe have some moments that those who are totally newcomers won't have or experience differently. But overall, it's totally standalone. It's a new adventure, and gameplay-wise, it's pretty much the same. But we improved a lot on some things because we had a lot of great feedback after the first game. So basically, what we always said within the team that we need to crank everything up from 10 to 11 for the sequel. So that was basically the philosophy for us. That basically the players loved all the aspects of the first game, but they had some valuable feedback on some little things. So we basically incorporated all that things in the second one. And I think it worked really well. But the players will tell us how they feel about that. But yeah, that was the basic premise gameplay wise. And if we talking about the theme of the game, themes of the game, it's like it has two main layers this time. There's a main theme which is essentially the global theme of the game. It's a metaphor against exclusion and oppression and all, and it's about self-deception and believing false dreams and ideas. It's quite complex. That's the exterior layer of the game.
Mhm.
And the other layer is more personal and intimate. It's about a relationship of our heroes with each other and with others in this world. And this story arc is mostly about letting go of the past and how sometimes, even if it's painful, we have to start a new life from zero.
Okay.
And need to be brave enough to start everything all over again. So yeah, the game has some pretty global and also some pretty personal themes this time.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Because you're the writer, aren't you? So I'm just kind of wondering as you're talking, like, how are there like have you brought personal themes into it and
Oh, absolutely.
transformed your life into these chicken characters?
Yeah, I basically live and breathe with these characters now.
I bet.
We made the first game 4 years ago, and but yeah, the whole Chicken Police story idea is more than 10 years old for me, because it started as a novel. Then I wrote an animation script about it, or from it, sorry, and after that we thought that it would be great for an adventure game, because I was always a huge gamer and I always loved adventure games like Discord Noir and Green Fandango and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we basically thought that it would be a really great adventure game. So that was the starting point for the whole franchise. Then yeah, the rest is history. The first game was quite a success for us,
Yeah.
and within the genre, I think. So the second one was pretty obvious for us to make, but yeah, it was a bumpy ride, to be honest, because there was the COVID pandemic. We changed publisher. There was an industry crash, basically, and yeah, referring to your original question, some personal tragedies as well. So and
Sorry.
yeah, I as a writer. Um, Maybe subconsciously and sometimes totally conscious, write myself into the story and into the characters. So yeah.
Yeah. I guess I think that's very common, isn't it? Yeah. Um, Great. You mentioned COVID, because of course you've got this game coming out, but then you've also got like a bunch of other kind of smaller projects that have come out that seem to be expanding the same universe. And it seems that you've got more on on the way that are also interrelated. Was that related to the pandemic? Did this end up being a very fertile time that just kind of produced all of these ideas, or how did that all happen?
Mm, I think probably probably it will be the same if the pandemic never happened, because we since we started the studio back in 2018, we are working from home, so that's our usual working conditions. So the COVID doesn't change much. Obviously, it basically it changed everyone's lives in one level or another. But for us, it wasn't a huge change. I think we just after the first game, we got a lot of great feedback about the world building,
Mm,
uh, because basically we created a huge world with several hundreds of years of history and religions and political systems and cultures and all that. And it was even the beginning. It was more than the game. It was more than just an adventure game. So we know that we need to use this huge lore library to build upon this world. So
mhm,
yeah, after the first game became a clear success for us, we started to brainstorm about the sequel, obviously, but also
mm,
about several possible spin-offs. And and yeah, we released for example, a smaller cafe talk type game, Zips
yeah.
Cafe. That was the second game in the world of the wilderness, as we call it. which is kind of a bridge between Chicken Police 1 and 2.
Okay.
And now we are working on two other games in this universe, Moses and Plato, which already has a demo on Steam, and we make it along with the publisher of Cafe Talk, Toge Productions, and we have another title, Wild Tactics, which is a totally different kind of game, basically an XCOM-like strategy game set in the same universe. Um, so yeah, this world is rather expensive, and we already have tons of ideas on how to make it even more uh, big and interesting. Maybe bring it to
Right.
totally other eras like medieval ages or things like that. We don't know,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah,
That's
the
interesting.
possibilities is basically endless because yeah, we wrote several hundred years of history for this world. And yeah, it's I think it's one of the reasons why the players fell in love with the world of Chicken Police because
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, totally. Talking about like expanding the universe, because you talked about the tone of the game being a kind of clear, Raymond Chandler style,
yeah.
hard-boiled crime stuff. And I played the demo, and I, you get this quite strong feeling of, these male-female cliches and stuff, which you're obviously playing with and messing around with. Is there a space for some more like LGBTQT kind of characters in this world? Is that something you're working towards, or is it already popping up in this game? How does that work?
Yeah. To some extent, it's already in the game. Yeah, as you said, in this era, like the 40s and 50s, the game is supposed to represent this team. These teams wasn't that typical, and we want to some extent stay true to the film noir tradition, but there are still like two characters in the game who belong to this community. But since it's not too relevant in the story itself, we didn't highlight it as an important fact or
Mm,
put it in the forefront. But
mm,
players who want to will certainly notice the signs and know exactly who they are. But basically, one of the main themes of the game is coexistence and fight against hatred and
yeah,
exclusion of any kind. Only
yeah,
here it is represented by animal species, but it's clear that we are speaking out against all kinds of exclusion, be it racial, religious, or any other kind. So this has always been an important part of the World of Wilderness and will be in future titles and future
super.
games. Because yeah, it's one of the great metaphor of this whole world is basically against every kind of oppression and exclusion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, thanks. That's a good answer. Final question: if somebody wants to play the games and they're just hearing of them for the first time, should they start with the first one, Paint It Red, or is it fine to just jump straight in? What do you think?
Yeah,
What do you
I
recommend?
think I think it's totally fine to just jump straight in because one of the reasons is basically it's totally standalone experience and the standalone adventure, and it can be even more interesting if they play the game that is chronologically a later title and then know everything like an origin story and playing the first game as a second. But yeah, it's totally up to the players. Both works really well, I think. So basically, we built all our games in the World of Wilderness universe this way, so every player can just jump into the new one and experience it as a totally new thing and totally standalone thing. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's nice to know. So, do you think you're going to be making this until you're a really old man?
Maybe if I grew old, because game dev is hard. But yeah, I think we obviously we as a developers doesn't want to just stick with one thing in the whole of our careers. But
Hmm.
that's sure that the World of Wilderness will be always a huge part of our studio and our lives. So basically, for the next, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, we will bring even more games to this world. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. You're gonna have to be digging into all the pockets of all the different animals you can pull out for different subplots, and I'm very curious to see what happens. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, great. And how's the launch going so far, seeing as we still seem to be talking on?
Oh yeah, actually, the launch is great so far. We have some really great feedbacks already, and also the first full-on reviews are pretty great. So like all the eights and nines and tens. So yeah, we are pretty stoked. Obviously, it just I don't know 3 hours or something like that. But yeah, pretty great so far. So yeah, we eager to know how the fans of the original game think about the next one, and how the new players who never experienced anything about this world will think about Chicken Police into the Hive. So yeah, we are super stoked.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I wish you all the best of it, as I'm sure everyone from AdventureX does. Hope you have a good sleep after all of this. And yeah,
Really.
take
Thank
care.
you. Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.